If you're the type of person who loves the idea of owning your own home, but the thought of yard work makes you want to pull your hair out, then today's video is for you. If you're on the hunt for lower maintenance living, today we're going to talk all about townhomes and condos in and around Raleigh, North Carolina. The pros, the cons, where you can find the lion's share of each, and what they're going to cost you. But before we dive in, my name is Matt Martin, and I'm a Raleigh-based realtor. I've helped tons of clients, just like you, relocate to the Triangle region of North Carolina, and if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. So first things first, let's talk about the differences between a townhouse and a condo. At its core, it really comes down to what you own. In a condo, you only own what's within your four walls, and then you have shared ownership of the common areas of the condo complex. In a townhome, on the other hand, you own everything from the land that the home is built on up to its air rights. This has some pretty big consequences. For example, in a townhome, you're typically responsible for your own roof and its replacement, whereas that would be covered by the homeowners association. In a condo, the exterior of a townhome is typically your responsibility, while that's generally covered by the HOA in a condo. From an insurance standpoint, many condo associations carry master insurance that covers the exterior of the building, so you may only be responsible for insuring what's within your unit, almost like a glorified rental policy. Now, I keep saying generally or typically because every condo and townhome development has different rules and regulations, so it's important to understand the specifics of the community you're looking at. So now that you know the difference between a townhouse and a condo, let's talk about some of the pros. The biggest benefit for many homeowners is the low maintenance lifestyle that these types of properties offer. While some townhomes may include a small yard, you typically find little to no private green space that you have to keep up with, so you can say goodbye to your lawnmower, leaf blower, and rake. Another pro for a lot of people is the sense of community that you can find in a condo or townhome development. Not only will you be physically closer to your neighbors, including sharing walls with them, but you may even have shared amenity spaces, especially in condo developments, that bring the community together. Things like outdoor patios with fire pits, shared roof decks, gyms, and game rooms. This is great for anyone who's newer to an area and looking to make friends, but it can also be an awesome option for locals who just want to stay engaged with their neighbors. And speaking of staying engaged, you'll typically find townhomes and condos in more urban environments, close to all the action. I'm gonna dive into the geography of townhomes and condos later in this video, but if you've always wanted to live downtown with easy access to bars, restaurants, and shopping, then townhomes and condos can be great options. Then another huge benefit, especially with condos, is that you're often not responsible for the exterior of your unit, like I alluded to earlier. So if the roof needs to be replaced, that's the responsibility of the condo HOA. If the staircase leading up to the building's front door is crumbling, that's on the HOA. Now, mind you, your monthly HOA fees, which we'll discuss in just a minute, are contributing to the cost of these repairs, but you hopefully won't be hit with a giant one-time expense like you would be in a single-family home. So those are some of the pros, but what about the cons? Well, for some people, the cons may be exactly what I just listed as pros, but let's take a look a bit more universally. One of the biggest cons of condo or townhouse living is the lack of privacy. Since you're often sharing walls with your neighbors, you will hear a lot more, and they'll hear you too. So if you like hosting late night parties, or you're heavy-footed like me, and your version of walking is stomping, then these types of communities might not be right for you. Another negative of townhomes and condos is that they often come with a bunch of rules and restrictions as established by the homeowners association. These can be everything from common sense rules about the aforementioned noise to the more obscure, like how many and what types of pets you can have, how many units in the development can be rented and for how long, if you can have overnight guests, and whether or not you can hang political signs. So before buying in a condo or townhouse, you'll 100% want to get a copy of the rules to make sure you'll be okay living there. One more negative of townhome or condo living is that they will typically come with high HOA fees. Now, this is both a pro and a con, since these fees are used to take care of all those things I mentioned earlier that you don't have to worry about yourself. But it is an added expense each month versus a single-family home that you'll need to factor into your budget. And if the HOA's financial reserves aren't healthy enough to cover, say, a full roof replacement, you may find yourself with a hefty assessment to cover that shortfall. The last con I want to mention is more specific to condos, and it has to do with getting a loan. Condo loans are more restrictive and often have higher interest rates, so you'll want to check with your lender to see how that impacts your budget. And condos have a special lending criteria called warrantability that I won't even begin to get into in this video, but it can be a determining factor in whether a bank will even lend in that development. So it's incredibly important to be working with an agent who knows the right questions to ask, and lucky for y'all, I've sold a lot of condos in my career, so you're in good hands. So you understand the pros and cons of townhome and condo living, but how prevalent are they in the Triangle and where can you find them? Well, single-family homes still reign supreme in the Triangle, but condos and townhomes are definitely having a moment. As of December 2024, there were about 5,200 active listings across the Triangle, and 1,500 of them, or about 29%, were condos and townhomes. Now, I say they're having a moment because over 1,100 of those 1,500 condos and townhomes were built within the last 10 years, so a lot have been coming up recently. And that's another thing to know about condos and townhomes. On average, they're going to be quite a bit newer than single-family homes. In terms of where you can find them, well, everywhere. Check out this map of all the active townhome and condo sales across the Triangle. And you can see that pretty much anywhere you're looking, there are likely some options. But in terms of raw numbers, you're of course going to find the most condos and townhomes in the biggest cities. Raleigh has over 500 active listings right now, which is more than 35% of all the townhomes and condos in the entire region, while Durham has nearly 250 and Cary has just over 100. But in terms of concentration of townhomes and condos versus single-family homes, that's a little different story. Morrisville reigns supreme here, with 73% of its 62 active listings being condos or townhomes. That means for every single-family home listed there, there's nearly 3 townhome or condo listings. This makes sense, as I've mentioned in some of my other videos, as Morrisville is super popular for those working in Research Triangle Park, which is just up the road, so they've really focused on ramping up density. Another place where you'll find a pretty even split between single-family homes and townhomes and condos is Carrboro, which is a small little town just next to Chapel Hill. There are currently 20 active listings in Carrboro, and 11 of them are condos or townhomes. But they're not the sparkly new ones you'll find being built in other parts of the Triangle. Instead, these have an average build year of 1984, which is still newer than the single-family average in Carrboro of 1977. The next city on the list surprised me a little at first glance, but totally makes sense after I thought about it a little more, and that's Cary. There are currently 238 active listings in Cary, and 109 of them are townhomes or condos. So why did this surprise me at first? Well, when I think about Cary, I think about a lot of well-established single-family home communities that were built in the last 20 to 30 years as the Research Triangle Park boomed. But a quick drive around Cary today, especially around the downtown area, will reveal new condo and townhome projects popping up everywhere. Other high concentration communities include Rollsville, just north of Raleigh, Raleigh itself, and Durham. So you're probably asking yourself what these condos and townhomes run, especially as compared to single-family homes. Well, as I'm sure you can imagine, that varies greatly based on location, size, age, and amenities. And when I say greatly, I mean greatly. The active listings right now range from a 900 square foot, 2-bed, 2-bath Raleigh condo built in 1986 that's asking $125,000, all the way up to a nearly 4,000 square foot, 3-bed, 3.5-bath luxury skyrise condo being built in Durham right now that's asking, wait for it, $4.37 million. So there really is something for everyone, but let's talk medians. It's probably not surprising based on what I mentioned earlier about the age of Carborough's inventory that your best deals are going to be there, where the median price on a townhome or condo is just shy of $250,000 versus just over $475,000 for a single family home. Raleigh lands right in the middle with a median price of about $370,000 for a townhome or condo versus nearly $600,000 for a single family home. And at the top of the list, which also shouldn't come much as a surprise if you've watched my other videos, is Cary, with a median townhome condo price of $540,000 versus nearly $750,000 for a single family home. Here's a full list of Triangle cities and their median prices from least to most expensive. So that's an intro to the townhome and condo market in the Triangle region of North Carolina. I'd love to hear your pros and cons. Let me know in the comments below. And if you're ready to kick off your home hunt in the Triangle region, be it in a condo, townhome, or single family home, I'd love to be your guide. You can reach me by phone, email, or text, and you can find all my contact information in the link below or by scanning this QR code right here with your phone. And if you liked this video, I have a whole catalog of others all about moving to, living in, and buying real estate in and around Raleigh, North Carolina. Here's another one here that you may like, so give it a click to keep on watching.